The Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
So that's Pam Bondi there, because I got a video I want you to look at. She's talking about the stock market. She wasn't supposed to be testifying about the damn stock market. Now let's just be clear. We know for a fact that Obama, Joe Biden, all of them had access to this particular file, but they didn't release it. So let's say Donald Trump gets credit for releasing the file.
American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents.
But he was in office the first time and they didn't release the files. And this time they released the files only because there was such an uproar. So I'm not saying I'm a big fan of Thomas Massie, but Thomas Massie questions Pam Bondi. She becomes real defensive because he's asking about Les Wexner. Les Wexner, Mr. Victoria's Secrets. I think he owned the Gap, some of those stores. The lawyer of some of the victims sent in the names of the victims and said he wanted them protected. They released the victim's name. And then Pam Bondi and the DOJ turns around and hide Les Wexner's name and many of the other perpetrators. So listen to this particular clip because Pam Bondi is asked about this and she says that Les Wexner's name is in the file like 4,000 times. But those are for like tax evasion. Those have nothing to do with child trafficking. She ignores the question, moves to something else and say he has Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not going to even get up because we talked about it last night. It's Howard Lutnick, who was lied about being on Epstein's island with his damn children. So listen to this exchange between Pam Bondi and Thomas Massie. And nobody can listen to this and say that Pam Bondi answers the question. Because we're not saying if you had Les Wexner's name in the files about the tax, but 4,000 times. But you hid his name when it came to sex trafficking specifically. And it was only revealed after it was brought to your attention. So I don't know what she's tooting her horn about. Listen to this clip and tell me, should Pam Bondi had been fired a long time ago, she should have never been hired in the first damn place. Check it out.
Is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victim's survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr.
Chairman.
This isn't how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
All
Kentucky.
right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So
Yes.
I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
Because
may
I
I
have
give
another
my answer
question.
on that?
If-
It's a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his
Chairman,
next question.
it's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
You can give
Within
me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and
Okay.
we invited
You know what?
you
Switch-
in.
show the video.
This
Show
guy
the-
has Trump
Gentlemen.
derangement syndrome. He needs to
the
get,
video.
you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
time
get
is
on
on.
I want you to
these
watch the video.
matters.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules
Himself, there
here.
is
Time.
no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am
at
reclaiming
all
my
the
time.
last
I'm
4
glad you're
years?
asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because
time
this
when
is
you don't-
bigger
when
than
you can't-
Watergate.
when I don't answer a question the
This
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to
most
know at what
transparent-
point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wexner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it
Time is
back on the
up.
screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has
Which,
expired.
may she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
You didn't answer the question.